Hello, everyone. It's Monday, November the 1st, and I hope everyone's had a good weekend. We've lost an additional 24 people, and I'm as sure as I can possibly be that's it's really tough on those families and all those loved ones. So join with me always in prayer, and I ask you to reach out if you know these people. At least reach out, make a phone call, or do something, that lets them know that they're not alone. But nevertheless, our prayer is a very, very powerful weapon that we have in our arsenal to be able to let these people in our way know that we're with them. The 4,427th death is a 69-year-old female from Nicholas County. The 4,428th death, a 89-year-old female from Raleigh County. The 4,429th death, an 85-year-old female from Monongalia County. The 4,430th death is a 47-year-old male from Putnam County. The 4,431st death, a 56-year-old male from Jackson County. The 4,432nd death, a 61-year-old male from Morgan County. The 4,433rd death, an 82-year-old female from Preston County. The 4,434th death, a 63-year-old female from Jefferson County. The 4,435th death, a 73-year-old male from Wood County. The 4,436th death, a 74-year-old female from Fayette County. The 4,437th death, an 81-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 4,438th death, a 77-year-old male from Harrison County. The 4,439th death, a 77-year-old male from Mineral County. The 4,440th death, a 59-year-old male from Berkeley County. The 4,441st death is a 58-year-old female from Kanawha County. The 4,442nd death, a 51-year-old male from Wood County. The 4,443rd death, a 73-year-old female from Calhoun County. The 4,444th death, a 58-year-old female from Cabell County. The 4,445th death, a 58-year-old male from Harrison County. The 4,446th death, a 72-year-old male from Wood County. The 4,447th death, a 78-year-old female from Braxton County. The 4,448th death, a 67-year-old female from Jefferson County. The 4,449th death, an 85-year-old male from Fayette County. The 4,450th death in West Virginia, a 65-year-old female from Marshall County. Now, let me tell you just this. I've read every single one of these folks that we've lost. And you may say, well, why go through that? It's my way of at least letting these people know that I really care, and I don't know what else I can do. I think it's the decent and respectful thing to do. And so please keep them in your prayers. Active cases are 6,940. That's way, way, way down. We didn't test a lot, so our positivity rate is at 10.84, but we have 498 new positive cases. That's way down. Our cumulative positive is at 6.11. We have 261,000 plus that have recovered. We have 575 now that are hospitalized, and that's way down. 181 in the ICU units and 115 on ventilators. We now have 6 green counties. That's moving the right way. And like I said, in the north central part of the state, we're doing something that's really right. And hopefully that will just migrate all across our state. We have 40 school outbreaks, 629 people that are kids that are confirmed, and in 18 counties. I remind you all the time, if you're 65 and older and you've got any kind of symptoms at all, go get tested. The antibodies are waiting on you. I tell you, if you're 65 and older especially, maybe even younger, but if you've got any kind of conditions, lung conditions, heart conditions, diabetes, whatever it may be, you probably should really think really hard about wearing a mask if you go indoors around a bunch of people, especially people you don't know. Think really hard about wearing a mask and protecting yourself. The boosters are available now in Moderna and J&J, and they've been available for Pfizer and everything. They're, all the information's right up there and everything. You just got to look at it. You know, and I would run to the fire and get that booster shot. Mixing the brands is now okay, but all of our information is right up there, and you can surely get the information from your healthcare provider as you're getting the shot. If you happen to have lost your card, you know, and you need a new card as to when you got your vaccinations, just call us at DHHR and we'll get that for you. We're at 67.3% of the folks 12 and older that have gotten one shot. We continue to move up on our 50 and olders are at 83.3% and 94.2% of the 65 and olders. Your vaccine eligibility is 12 and older. You know, I urge all kids, especially that are in our schools, that, you know, this thing can go through our kids like crazy. You may not even really have any symptoms, but at the end of the day, you know, if you were to get this, it can possibly cause some lasting side effects that are not good. You know, from the standpoint of our parents and grandparents, I urge them in every way to help me get these kids vaccinated. You know, we're actively preparing for the approval of the COVID vaccine for kids from 5 to 11 years old, and we'll be ready to go when the approval comes out. All the vaccine information's up there on our line. You know, urge the grandparents grandfamilies rather to take advantage of this $150 voucher. You know, and the 19,000 kids that they have under their care, we could really stand to have all those people vaccinated. All the stuff on free testing and the testing maps up there, I continue to thank Fruth and Walgreens for all that they've done. They've been great partners, and they've been great to stand by our side and do great work. So I appreciate them. Thank you. Our long-term care facilities, we have 42 outbreaks in those. We have one outbreak in Nicholas County in our church community. Our churches really have rallied and done a really great job. Our corrections are 66 inmate cases and 32 staff cases. They're doing a great job as well. I remind you about the flu shot. I have told you over and over about this rental assistance program. Now just let me take 1 second. We're going to leave a tremendous amount of federal money on the table that we could really stand to have in West Virginia. This is for landlords and renters. If you're renting and you have financial hardship and could qualify for this, call us, because we want to get these dollars in your hands. Now, you know, let me see if what else I've got here. Oh, I've got 2 other things. Okay. I was able to do this on Saturday. This is really neat. But I was told by our curator, Randall Reed Smith, that a governor has never been to a marching band competition such as this, but this was for the big prize. This was for the Governor's Cup prize for marching band for the marching bands through the series that they've gone through. Now, they've qualified as they've gone along with their competition. You know, last year, you know, it was the right thing for us to do to make sure that the bands could perform last year during the pandemic. You know, it was okay. It was okay for us to have a football game, but then we almost got into a situation to where we were just going to ignore the bands and say, no, we don't really want y'all to perform and everything. And that's so important to those kids and everything. And absolutely, those kids work just as hard as our football players or basketball players, you know, and absolutely, we should absolutely have provided the competition last year, and we did. It was the right thing to do. And so I was able to go up to the Governor's Cup, at Philip Barber on Saturday. It was a great day, a little rainy and everything, but Cabell Midland, was the grand champion. The runner-up was Hurricane High School, and the second runner-up was Greenbrier East High School. I congratulate all the folks that were there and everything. And like I said, it was a great, great, great day. They gave me a little trophy that's there that, it was a baby dog trophy. And then the Philip Barber people gave me a wonderful rain jacket and everything. It's good stuff. I mean, those kids worked so hard, and I could not possibly be more proud of them and everything. So it was a great day, a great, great, great day. Saturday I also was able to give a Distinguished West Virginian Award. I get this. This man, Tim James, right there, he just made it through quadruple bypass surgery. And what an incredible man and incredible job that he's done. Now just think about this just a second. He has won, as the director of the Cabell Midland Band, 151 grand championships and 10 consecutive state marching band championships. Now just think about that. 10 consecutive championships, 151 championships in all the competition that they go to over the years. Just survived quadruple bypass surgery. And he's been at this for 40 years, and he's retiring, and what a job that man right there has done. It goes to show just one thing that is so important. A leader, a coach, an absolute coach, someone that really cares for our kids, absolutely has driven them to excellence beyond belief. And pride, absolutely off the chart. What a man. What a man, and what a job he's done. So for Randall Reed Smith, the guy that's stuck on all the time, and all those that work so hard, throughout all of our bands, all across our state, how much beauty, how much goodness can they possibly bring? And we thank them. We thank them in every way. Okay, got the last thing I got to report, and this has become old hat. We would have absolutely danced in the streets not far long ago. And before I walked in the door, for God's sakes a living, all this was impossible. Impossible. That's all there is to it. Deficits like you can't imagine. More and more and more cuts. Didn't have a solution whatsoever. More and more cuts. Let's just cut and cut and cut and cut. We got to have a balanced budget, so we really don't have any solutions, so we'll just cut. And then, absolutely, with the great work of the legislature and all those that have been with me, we started to make things change. Now, today, for the month of October, I'm reporting another surplus. A surplus of $38.7 million above estimate. Now think about that. So year to date, for 4 months in the state of West Virginia, we're $181.4 million above estimate. Again this year. It's like a broken record. It's a broken record. It's absolutely with a theme beyond belief that is goodness and brings so much goodness to our people, it's off the chart. We've managed to not grow our spending. We've managed to push the right buttons. I don't even know if it'll be reported or not. It's almost old hat. And a lot of people absolutely try not to report the good news. And I think that's terrible beyond belief. But nevertheless, the personal income tax, was up 8.1%. Above last year for this month, 8.7% ahead year to date. The consumer sales taxes were up 6.3%. That means lots of folks out there buying stuff. The corporate net taxes for October is 8% above last year for the month and nearly 44% ahead year to date. It's unbelievable. Severance tax We're up 84% above last year for the month and 119% ahead for year to date. You know, natural gas prices, we all know, are way up and everything. Coal prices are up and production is up. You know, so really and truly, when it really boils right down to it, like I said, you know, it's almost become old hat. It's almost become a broken record. Justice is going to come in at the end of the month and report more and more surpluses. For God's sakes of living, you know, isn't that the greatest news in the history of all time? Really and true, state's really doing good. Proud of all of you. Thank y'all so much for all the great work. Special thanks to the legislature and special thanks to all my people that are pushing the right buttons, and dadgum if it isn't working. So thank y'all. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Good morning. In continuation of what the governor has told us, it's important to realize that today we hit a tragic mark around the world. 5 million people have now died from COVID-19 around the world, and over 740,000 people have died in the US, and we have the largest number of deaths in the world in total. It's also notable that we have administered over 7 billion vaccines worldwide and over 420 million in the US. And these vaccines have been so effective, and for many people around the world who have died and people in the US who have died, they have not taken the opportunity to be fully vaccinated. We talked last week about how important it was and is for women who are pregnant or thinking about being pregnant to please get vaccinated. We've had a tragic number of pregnant mothers who have gotten severely ill from COVID-19. And it's also important to recognize that more recently, people who have psychiatric challenges, mood disorders, including schizophrenia and depression, are also heavily recommended to be fully vaccinated. The death rate on a per capita basis from COVID-19 of people with schizophrenia is second only to age as a risk factor for death, at least in some studies. And having depression can make the risk of severe illness and hospitalization much greater. The governor also said, and we anticipate that tomorrow when the CDC's advisory group comes together, they will also recommend vaccines for children 5 through 11 years old. And in West Virginia, we still see a substantial number of new cases in this age group. So we hope that parents will choose to fully vaccinate their 5 to 11-year-old children. That's really important to prevent the risk of long COVID, the not common risk that these children may experience severe disease if they do get infected, but also to reduce the transmission and continue to reduce the risk for all West Virginians of developing COVID-19 and ended up in the hospital, or even more concerning, to end up on the list of names that the governor reads before every or during every press brief. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsh. Next, we'll go to retired Major General Jim Hoyer, the director of our Joint Interagency Task Force.
Good morning. As the governor just pointed out, we are prepared to execute on providing doses to 5 to 11-year-olds. Our task force meets again for an update with all of our partners this afternoon at 1 p.m. We have 50,000 doses that have been ordered for central hubs, the 3 central sites. Those are due to be coming in today and early tomorrow. Pharmacies have ordered, as well as other community health clinics that are able to order direct. So we anticipate as soon as the approval comes that we will start to execute on that. Want to also reinforce a couple of points that the governor made. While we continue to make steady progress with first dose uptake of vaccines, and now at 69% of 18 plus population in West Virginia. As the governor and all of us on the team have pointed out, we're still not moving fast enough. We've got to get more people vaccinated. That is clearly indicated by the numbers in our hospitals. While our total number has gone down, it is going down very slowly, and a little bit of a spike this morning on numbers, and most importantly, our ICU and ventilator numbers are not going down significantly. And we know that is where most of the people run into the serious issues that result in death. So we've got to continue to press both on first and second doses, as well as our older population getting their boost dose as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Secretary Bill Crouch with the DHHR is also joining us today and is available for questions. Dr. Aina Amjad had a prior engagement, and she will rejoin us on Wednesday. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Good morning, and thank you for taking a moment for my question. This is probably for Dr. Marsh, maybe for Governor Justice, if you want to weigh in on it, or even General Hoyer. It feels like that it's been said around the edges that this thing is not going away, that the vaccines now appear to be effective for 6 to 8 months to a year, and then you get a booster and it's effective for an equal period of time. So I really haven't heard a lot of talk about this is the new way of life. So is this the new way of life for people not only in this country but around the world? And are we setting ourselves up for booster shots of COVID vaccine every 6 months, every 8 months, every 12 months from now until the foreseeable future, just like we deal with the flu vaccine every year? Is this now what we're going to have to do to deal with COVID in perpetuity? Thank you.
Well, Kenny, before I defer to Dr. Marsh, especially Dr. Marsh is from a medical standpoint is light years ahead of where I'll be. But I do not think that this terrible pandemic is just like the flu. But I want you to hear from me and everything, because I think I'm really right about this. I really do believe that in a lot of ways, this is the new normal for at least a while as a bridge. You see, I really don't believe it's going away. But I do believe that the lifespan of most pandemics is probably 2 years that we know about. I don't believe this is going away. And I believe absolutely that what we are going to have to do is be vaccinated, and I think the vaccines are going to wear down. And then as they wear down, we're going to have that booster shot. Now, if that's the worst that we have to do in life, well, it's not too bad, really and truly. I think what we're waiting on is in that bridge is we're waiting on the superstars like Dr. Marsh or General Hoyer or whomever it may be to absolutely come up with the miracle that ends this. It either runs its life cycle and it runs itself out, or at the end of the day, we come up with a solution that we do not have today. Now, that's my 2 cents. I really believe we don't have a solution today other than, we should just be telling the people point blank that really and truly this is going to be the new way of life for a while. We do know the vaccines wear off after a while, and we do know that we need boosters to be able to keep our immunity levels at a high level. We do know that many people continue to die. Now, we could just say, oh no, we're not going to take any more boosters and everything else. And if you choose to do that, your likelihood of becoming the possibility, at least, of becoming one of those people that die versus people that are taking the booster, you're probably looking at a 10 times plus more likelihood of getting sick versus someone that's taking the boosters. So from my standpoint, I don't see why we need to dodge anything. You know, I'm a guy that tries to take it head on, and I really believe with all in me that this is the new normal. We are going to have to take booster shots for a while until either one or two things happens. Either we get a vaccination level at such a high level that it shuts this thing down, or it just runs its course and it dies and goes away. Or someone comes with a miracle pill that basically gives you immunity for life. But that is my 2 cents. I think that I'm right. I would not have spoken about it if I didn't think that I was absolutely right. This is not time for us to give a political answer. It's time for us to continue with all in us to try to tell the truth to the people. And that's my 2 cents. So Dr. Marsh, take it from there.
Well, thank you, Kenny, and thank you, Governor. I agree with what the governor said. The only other caveat I would give is that COVID-19 has done things that we haven't expected at many turns during this pandemic. And the one potential scenario that we have not escaped the potential for is that COVID continues to mutate, and that then may force us to address COVID differently, perhaps with a newer kind of vaccine. But otherwise, I think the governor is right. This is something that if we all get fully vaccinated, if we are careful, we use the power of our own discernment and judgment, wear masks when you are inside around people you don't know if you're part of the vulnerable population. Make sure that if you feel sick, you get tested and be careful, then we can successfully live with COVID-19 as it eventually turns from pandemic to epidemic and most likely to endemic. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next, we'll go to Stephen Allen Adams with Ogden Newspapers.
Yeah, Stephen Allen Adams here, Ogden Newspapers. The economic numbers, tax revenue numbers were good for another month, so that's excellent to hear. I know you talk pretty frequently with your revenue officials. Are we expected to see perhaps maybe a few months down the road the effects of some of the negative economic impacts going on right now, such as the increase in inflation, the increase in prices of consumer goods? Obviously, gas prices are high right now. The supply chain has numerous issues, especially going into this Christmas holiday shopping period. Do we see any type of effects on the state budget, perhaps going forward? Is that something that's been talked about? Thank you.
Stephen, it's all being talked about. It's been talked about an awful lot, and we're watching in every way. You know, the real truth is there are many items, whether they be food related or gas related or energy related or whatever it may be, that are significantly higher. You know, surely building supplies that, you know, our homes and everything are significantly higher. There's all kinds of backlog as far as getting goods to us. I mean, you know, we're, just to tell it like it is, from the standpoint of the federal government and what's going on with the federal government, you know, the solution is to just bear down, roll your sleeves up and do hard work and come up with the right solutions and make the right moves on the chessboard. I mean, can you just imagine we shut down the Keystone Pipeline and we run all over the world and beg people to increase their production of fossil fuels to keep us going? We absolutely believed with all in us that we can move on climate change and everything else and do this and do that and everything. And I am one absolutely that embraces all the alternative energies, all of them. But I have said over and over, it is absolutely frivolous to believe that this country today can do without fossil fuels. And what's happened? What's happened is just this. The whole world is awakening and absolutely demanding more and more and more energy. And so from the standpoint of gas and oil or coal or whatever it may be, you know, we're getting more and more and more demand. I think there was an article that just came out today that said our coal mines in the United States of America are sold out of their production. Now just imagine that, really. So at the end of the day, Stephen, I do think we're going to have to watch really closely, about the inflation situation. It could have a bearing, and everything. But with all of that, Stephen, I've got to tell you, and I don't say this egotistically at all, but we've made the right moves, and West Virginia's positioned in the right spot, and really and truly, the world now is beginning to really awaken to the fact that we are that diamond in the rough that they've missed. I mean, it's doggone hard to argue the numbers. I mean, that's just all there is to it, and we'll continue to watch as we go forward, just like we did when we got our legs blown out from underneath us, with the pandemic, when it just happened right off the get-go. And I can remember April losing $197 million, in the month of April. And we moved our income tax filing date and everything else into the next year, and we didn't have anywhere to turn, but we found a way. You got some dadgum smart folks in charge right now, and they're doing good stuff. And so, yeah, Stephen, we're watching it. We're watching it real close, and I just wish to goodness that the federal government would come up with solutions of hard work rather than just trying to take buckets of money and just throw at it so we can buy your vote. That's all that's going on. I mean, really and truly, when it comes down to the social stimulus stuff, we want to help everyone. I'm all in. I'm all in on that. But that's not what's going on here, Stephen. You know it and I know it too. The federal government is trying to pass a multi-trillion dollar social spending thing so they can buy the midterm election. That's exactly what's going on, I mean, really and truly, sure. I'm sure that there are some people that really, truly believe in their mind they're trying to help folks and everything. But at the end of the day, that's really taking a second seat to what's going on and their concerns and worries about the midterm election. So from my standpoint, whether it be, being preoccupied with climate change and China building another coal-fired power plant every other day, and to think that the world's air and everything, that we're going to shut down the Keystone Pipeline. We're going to stand here and just shoot ourselves right in the foot while the whole world's going in a different direction, and think that it sounds good and everything. It makes us feel good. Well, it doesn't make me feel good because it's not smart. It's just plain not smart. And so from the standpoint of what our federal government was doing, I wish to goodness that somebody would get in charge. And if our president is struggling with knowing what's going on, I wish to goodness somebody would tell him what to do, and we get moving in the right direction, because I want to be respectful to the presidency of the United States and respectful to all. But my good Lord living, anybody in the right mind that would think we're going the right way, it'd have to be a nut job, in my opinion.
All right, thank you, Stephen. Next to Mark Curtis with the Next Star Media.
Good morning, Governor and Cabinet members and fellow reporters. I did some quick math here. According to the DHA chart, additional doses of fully vaccinated WV residents, I assume that's the booster number, 45,000. That represents only 8% of people age 50 plus and only 15% of people age 65 plus. If those numbers are that low, what do you need to do? And I'd like Dr. Marsh to address this too. What do you need to do to boost the number of people getting their booster shots? And is there a concern that some people think, well, I had my 2 shots, I'm fully vaccinated, I'm fully protected, I don't need a booster?
Mark, I can answer it, and I'm not wanting to keep talking because I've got a little bit of a sore throat, but I can answer it real quick and everything, and it's just 2 things. A great many of the people think, and gosh, I don't know what in the world, people just can't realize and just look at the numbers and listen to the experts, but a lot of people think, I got my 2 doses and everything, and I am absolutely safe. And really and truly, for a goodly little while, they were safe. It's just, Moderna and J&J have just come on. And so therefore, a lot of people got Moderna and J&J. And so we're now able to get to those folks. But Mark, you're dead splitting the bullseye. You know, you got 45,000 people that have taken their boosters. What are we going to need to do? Well, I promise you what we're going to need to do. We're going to need to get more body bags. That's all there is to it. There's no point in dancing around the raindrops here. In all honesty, if these people don't go and get their booster shots, really and truly, the vaccine has worn off if you're 6 months out. Now, it's not gone. But absolutely, if they don't go get their booster shots, we're going to get more body bags. And so, I mean, we can dance through the raindrops here all day long, but the reality is just this. We need more people, just like what General Hoyer said. We're still getting to people, but it's too slow. We need more and more people running to the fire, getting their booster shots and getting vaccinated, or we're going to have more body bags. It's just that simple.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next to Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good morning, Governor. Good morning, panel, and fellow reporters, too. Governor, we have turned the corner. We're in November. That means Thanksgiving's not that far away. And if I do my math right, that if you want to be fully protected for your Thanksgiving holiday as a family, you're going to have to get your booster or your shots in by Veterans Day. Is there a greater danger with Thanksgiving this year with Delta variant out there than there was last year? And maybe has that lulled some people into a false sense of security in that, hey, we made it by last year with no problem. We're going to make it by this year. Thank you.
Paul, I'm gonna let Dr. Marsh answer this, but I would say, Paul, two things. I would say, without any question, we've told you over and over and over, not Paul, because Paul's great, but told the people over and over that this Delta variant is much more infectious. And there's absolutely no question whatsoever that you need to get vaccinated before Veterans Day if you're going to be protected over the Thanksgiving holidays when you're with your family. And Paul, I guess the bottom line is if we're lulled to sleep, it's boy, I know you get tired of me just saying it like this, but it's a sleep that a lot of us are not going to wake up from. I mean, that's all there is to it. But anyway, Dr. Marsh, talk, please.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Paul. I think the governor has really said what I would also offer, other than to say that if you are going to be protected from a booster, then you need between 10 and 13 days before the time that people are gathering to be protected again. If you're getting your first doses of vaccine, then we would advise you to go ahead and do that, but people won't be fully protected if you just start the first series of vaccines, before at this point at least. So Pfizer, you need 21 days between the first and second doses. Moderna, 28 days. Johnson & Johnson is only one dose at this point, but soon I think that will be 2 doses. So we really need people to get vaccinated as soon as possible. And 14 days after your final dose of vaccine, or 10 to 13 days after your booster dose, then we would say that you are have immune protection. The other thing to recognize and be also thoughtful of is we want people to get their flu vaccines as well. And that's another important consideration as we gather during the holiday seasons. Thank you.
Me just 1 second, and I really think we ought to make sure that people do know too that if you get vaccinated today, in 2 or 3 weeks, you're better off. You're better off. You're not fully to the level of if you were fully vaccinated or boosted, you're not fully there, but you're better off. That's all there is to it, than sitting around with no vaccine. Anyway, I just want to throw that in.
All right, thank you, Paul. Next to Annie Moore with WVVA.
Good afternoon, Governor. The Register Herald reported this morning that one of your family-owned businesses is attempting to seek tax incentives to develop property along the Harper Road area. Can you tell us anything more about your plans there?
Annie, I don't know exactly what you just, could you say that one more time?
Sure. The Register Herald is reporting that one of your family-owned businesses is seeking to develop commercial property in the Harper Road area. Can you tell us more about your plan for that?
Annie, I do know this. I think, that they have, in fact, I know they've applied for a TIF in regard to that, the property there at Harper Road. And I think all that's moving along with the idea in mind of developing that entire site and everything, for, commercial development be great for the community and everything. It'd be just another big shot in the arm as far as businesses there. But it does take a lot of doing, from the standpoint of, moving a lot of earth as well as moving, sewage and water and all that kind of stuff. But that's what people do. I mean, this is a very common approach that goes on all across our state to bring development to our state and everything. And I think that's exactly what they're doing.
All right, thank you, Andy. Next to John Mark Shaver with WV News.
Good morning, everybody. I have two brief questions. First, we're getting the 50,000 vaccines in for the children ages 5 to 11. Do we have any plans to get more than that? And what do you think the response will be from the public when that's approved? And second, we've heard from some local health departments that they appreciate the state funding and grants for help with vaccine and testing clinics, but they're worried that that might run out when the grants end and expire. So do you have a plan to further continuing funding those services for the health departments?
General, if you could answer the first part and then I'll take the second.
Yes, sir, Governor. So 50,000 is the first installment of pediatric vaccines into the hubs. Remember also that under the federal pharmacy program and the federal programs in general, pharmacies are also ordering doses as well as community health clinics. So we anticipate that we are in good shape. We know that Pfizer and the federal government have a good, solid plan, and a number of doses to cover the entire United States have been ordered. So we don't see any shortfalls with pediatric doses. Turn it back to you, Governor.
The only thing I would say is we've stood rock solid by all of our health agencies and everything in regard to standing with them and helping them arm in arm and everything. And that's what we're going to do, period. I mean, that's all there is to it. As we go forward, if we run out of grants or whatever like that, we're going to stand there. We're going to stand arm in arm, provide funding, and we're going to absolutely help these people because they've done great work, and we're not going to flinch. I mean, that's all there is to it. We're going to be right there to help them.
All right, thank you, John. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, gosh, I didn't expect that quick. I guess I'm just trying to review here in my, on my notes and everything, but I would really encourage people that have gone all the way to get vaccinated and their time is right for them to get the booster shot, for crying out loud. That's just plain silly. I mean, that's all there is to it. To be completely vaccinated and then just be walking around thinking, I'm great, everything's all good. Well, you're not great. You're not all good. I mean, really and truly, in regard to the vaccine and everything, if you're 6 months out, your immunity level has dropped for sure. And with that, you need the booster shot. From the standpoint of our kids getting the first rounds of shots and everything, from the standpoint of Thanksgiving dinners coming and all that kind of stuff, and Christmas right behind that, and cold weather right with us and everything. As sure as the world, Thanksgiving's going to come, Christmas is going to come, and it's going to get colder. All those things compound the issue and could make it worse and worse. And as sure as the world, this Delta variant is absolutely more infectious than the regular COVID deal. And so with all of that and everything, we've got to be more and more and more cautious and everything and get vaccinated. For crying out loud, that's the entire everything. And the other thing, I guess, through the questions and everything that was asked is, Annie, our businesses are going to function just like everybody else's businesses. And I'm sure that our businesses are running and doing exactly what they should be doing. But if we can bring more and more and more goodness to the state of West Virginia, that's great. I'm here to be your governor. Our businesses shouldn't run any differently than what they run all the time. And so from that standpoint, I'm very, very hopeful that we're going to bring more and more goodness, to all across the state, as well as all the different people that are bringing that goodness. So let's just keep it going. I mean, this state's cooking. We just want to just keep it going. That's all I got. Thank you so much.